After regaining 50 of the 100 pounds I lost with keto and fasting, I found myself in this desperate place of wanting to take off the weight, but not really knowing what to do. As someone who's coached hundreds of women through losing hundreds of pounds, all of my tried and true methods stopped working. Even though I forced myself back down the path of drastically cutting carbs while pushing fast longer and longer, that routine left me exhausted and plagued with migraines 3 to 5 days each week. So now what? Now that keto and fasting only seem to contribute to my weight regain and exhaustion, what was I supposed to do? Live a life in baggy t-shirts and leggings? Go back to hiding behind my kids and family photos? Or was I doomed to suffer with low energy and constant headaches, all in the name of weight loss? The good news is I finally figured out how to get back to a healthy weight, and I didn't have to compromise feeling good to get there. And while I no longer attribute my good health to popular diets like keto or intermittent fasting, I did use 6 fitness tools to reach my goals this time around. Well, actually 7. So be sure to watch until the end to learn my special bonus tool that ties everything together, especially since this tool is by far the biggest key to my success for losing 40 pounds after 40. The first tool is something that I've had in my kitchen for going on 2 decades. And whether you follow keto, paleo, Weight Watchers, or even a flexible diet, this is a must-have. And the reason a kitchen scale is an absolute must is, at the end of the day, weight loss really does come down to calories in versus calories out. It doesn't matter which method you choose, all of these diets use different strategies to help you cut calories. Only you won't know how many calories you're eating if you don't track. And you can't accurately track if you don't have a precise way to measure. While measuring cups and eyeballing meals can get you in the ballpark, each of these methods can result in hundreds of calories worth of error. And since the best fat loss strategy is to eat as much as you can while remaining in a moderate calorie deficit, those hundreds of calories can easily add up to a weight loss stall. When I got back to using my food scale for every meal, that's when the magic began. Of course, just using a food scale didn't get me too far since I also had to account for everything that I was measuring and weighing. But I stayed on track because I tracked everything with a food app. And while Chronometer is my food tracking app of choice, you can use whichever macro app that you like. I have data ranging all the way back to January 2017. Now, part of the reason you see this downward curve followed by this big hill is I wasn't always the best at using my food tracking app consistently. But once I got back to tracking consistently, yes, even on weekends and holidays, well, that's when this beautiful downward slope began. Of course, I wouldn't see that downward slope if I wasn't also weighing myself on a consistent basis. And I do that on my FitTrack scale, which comes with some other handy features like tracking my body fat, as well as sending my daily weigh-ins directly into Chronometer. While some experts tell you to get rid of your scale since it doesn't tell the whole truth, when I got back to losing 40 pounds, I did the exact opposite. Instead of never weighing myself, I weighed in every single day. Only instead of obsessing over what the scale had to say, I took all of the emotion out of the scale and instead viewed my daily weigh-ins as data. Once I began the habit of weight averaging, which is where you take the average of your weekly weight to determine if your weight is trending either up or down, that's when I realized that it didn't matter if I had one bad day on my diet, because as long as I got right back on track, my weight loss always continued to trend in the right direction. Back when I was weighing in only one time each week, all it took was one bad weigh-in to cause a whole lot of emotional chaos that made me throw in the towel. Because who wants to work so freaking hard just to watch the scale go up? But with weight averaging, I learned the trend my body follows, which made it easier to hone in on a routine that actually gets results. However, it's still true that even if the scale swore in a Bible to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, it is still a big fat liar. I mean, look at my progress photos as proof. Here we are in April 2022 with a scale weight of 183.8 pounds. And nearly 3 months later, look, my big fat lying scale said I weighed 183.2 pounds. Wait, what? Now I'm thinking, wait, what? Because I know I was putting in the work. I know I was working out and tracking my food every single day for an entire 3 months. And after all of that work, I lost a measly 0.6 pounds. And you're probably thinking, wait, what? Because who am I to tell you how to lose weight when I only lost 0.6 pounds in 3 freaking months? But that's because while I still believe the scale is a valuable tool and not weighing yourself can result in even more weight regain for so many, it's definitely not the entire story. This is especially true at the beginning of your diet. And it's even more true if you lose weight the right way, aka by adding strength training at least 2 or 3 times each week. Now, just in case you're not familiar with body recomposition, this is an amazing way to reach your fat loss goals because it's a process where you gain muscle while also losing fat. But since muscle weighs more than fat by volume, and I have to specify volume because if I don't say by volume, that'll make a whole lot of fitness influencers angry. And I've had angry fitness influencers come at me before, and I just don't want to deal with that flex. But when you gain muscle at the same time as losing fat, well, you start doing things like wearing clothes that you haven't worn in years, even though the scale hasn't dropped a pound. And that's a good thing. That is where progress pictures come in. Because if you're not also taking progress photos 1 or 2 times each month, then you're not really getting the whole picture. In a plan that's working exactly as it should, well, you might give up on it and follow some crazy fad for quick results that don't last. Again, thankfully, I practice what I preach, and my progress photos help me stick to my flexible diet, even when I wanted to punch my filthy, dirty, lying scale right in the face. But that's only because after being in the weight loss game for longer than I'd like to admit, I developed the ability to be objective and to realize that even though my scale was stuck, there was still a huge difference between these photos. But if you're like most women, while you may see differences in other women's photos, you're not quite as objective when it comes to your own body. While you may see noticeable loss in belly fat, plus all of the back fat that's gone and slimmer arms, as women, we are trained to pick ourselves apart. So even though the proof is in the photos, if I was still in that desperate place for results, maybe I'd only see the fat here that I still wanted gone. Or perhaps I'd only see those chunky arms that still aren't toned. And that's where this fancy measuring tool comes in. Because when the scale is being a filthy, dirty liar and body dysmorphia shows its evil face again, well, measurements don't lie as much. Because if you're a little bloated on the day you measure, or if your hand isn't quite as steady as it was last time because you weighed yourself and the scale sent you into a rage like only that lying scale can do, well, then the measurements can be a little off. But if you have the ability to stay cool, calm, and collected when faced with the scale, plus you religiously take digestive supplements to avoid all of the bloat, well, then a measurement tool is a great way to track progress. And while my results seem to come slower than molasses when I first started measuring, now I look at how far I've come and I can't believe that my belly used to be out to here. Still, it's important to note that even though measuring right at your belly button first thing in the morning every few weeks is one of the best ways to measure fat loss, it is also one of the slowest ways. This means that losing even half an inch or an inch in a month can be great progress. And even though those half inches seem like you're not getting anywhere, if you keep at it, someday you can be here. Or even closer to your flat stomach goals than this girl who treats herself to a little too much on the weekends. But all bacon cheeseburgers aside, I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't start moving more. And while it's one thing to say that you plan to start moving more, walking 7,000 to 10,000 steps per day doesn't happen by accident. When I first got my Apple Watch, I was only taking 2,000 to 3,000 steps most days. So while the majority of fitness influencers are over here warning of the dangers of seed oils and how sugar is going to kill you and these foods doom us all to a life of obesity, my body was over there saying, hi. So you ate 2,500 calories today, but all added up, you maybe got in 20 minutes of activity. So yeah, I'm gonna have to add all of those extra calories that you didn't burn off today to your belly. So you might wanna get bigger pants. But once I got my fitness watch and worked up to my goal of 9,000 to 10,000 steps per day, the funny thing is, I lost weight and my health improved dramatically despite still including occasional seed oils and even sugar in my diet. And while I'm not claiming sugar and seed oils are the best things that you can eat in order to improve your health, I am saying that cutting those out completely probably isn't the key to finally reaching your goals. only getting off the couch to grab another snack? Yep, that is totally a thing that will crush your weight loss dreams. Enjoying a few chips that don't taste like cardboard every once in a while? You'll probably be okay. Now, one thing I have to caution is even though these 6 tools were pivotal in helping me lose 40 pounds after 40, I never would have stayed on track without this one habit that ties everything together. And you can learn all about that habit, which I still follow to this day, in this video next.